Your worship, we're live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting. Council, first off, I'll be looking for a motion for the agenda.
Your worship, I will move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles.
I'll second that, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Martins. Council, as we've done in the past through these Zoom calls, we will go through and make sure if anyone's got any questions or comments, and we will be doing a roll call for that. It was randomly generated beforehand, and I will start with Councillor Tolles.
Looks good to me, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Councillor Martins?
No, everything looks good, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen. You're just on mute, Councillor Friesen.
Oh, sorry.
I'm seeing you shake your head no, so I'm going to assume that you mean no questions or comments. I will go down to Councillor Bowditch.
No questions, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Pluis.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Dagg.
All good, your worship.
Thank you. This motion was made by Councillor Tolles. It was seconded by Councillor Martins. All those in favor? Council, the motion's passed. Next off, Council will be looking for a motion for the minutes from our last meeting.
Your worship, I'll move that we adopt the minutes of the last meeting, which was held July 27th, 2020.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen.
I'll second that, your worship.
Councillor Bowditch, same thing. We will go through. Council, these minutes were circulated to us last week. We all had a chance to read through them. If anybody sees any errors or omissions from the minutes, please speak now, and I will go through. Councillor Tolles. I believe you're on mute, Councillor Tolles.
Looks good to me, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martins.
Everything looks good, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Friesen.
All good, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bowditch.
Everything looks fine, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Pluis.
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks, and Councillor Dagg.
Again, all good. Thanks, your worship.
The motion to adopt the minutes was made by Councillor Friesen. It was seconded by Councillor Bowditch. All those in favor? Council, the motion's passed. We have no proclamations or delegations for this evening, so it will take us right down for items for action. And I will hand it over to Ms. Cobbler to please start us off with the items for action.
Thank you and good evening, your worship, members of council. Enclosed are the general revenue fund disbursements for the period of July 27th to July 31st, 2020. I respectfully recommend that $2,512,950.65 in disbursements be approved, which includes a payment of $431,000 for payroll benefits, a payment of $20,000 for power costs in city facilities outside of our franchise area, payments of $13,000 and $25,000 for the purchase of chemicals for use by the water treatment plant, a payment of $11,000 for costs related to generator servicing at North Hill Reservoir, South Hill Reservoir, 8th Avenue Booster Station, and the water treatment plant, a payment of $25,000 for landscaping costs associated with the Battleford Trail and Central Avenue intersection realignment, a payment of $10,000 for subscription renewal costs associated with the city website, payment of $60,000 for the supply and delivery of gravel to various back alley locations, a payment of $13,000 for costs associated with backhoe services at various locations, a payment of $43,000 for costs associated with IT equipment upgrades and software subscription renewal, a payment of $1,167,000, which includes $100,000 for the 2020 paving maintenance contract and $1,067,000 for the 2020 paving and concrete contract, a payment of $35,000 for costs associated with replacing filter control lines at the water treatment plant, a payment of $24,000 for electrical costs associated with the Windscape irrigation project, replacing gym lights at Dixon Community Center and key fob installation at the stockade, a payment of $15,000 for the replacement of firefighting gear for the fire department's use, a payment of $49,000 for transit and recycling depot operations, payment of $10,000 for monies received on behalf of a third party, a payment of $36,000 for landfill operations, a payment of $113,000 for garbage collection, a payment of $28,000 for costs related to the utility billing software system, And finally, a payment of $74,000 for costs associated with the 2020 airport asphalt maintenance contract.
Thank you, Ms. Cobbler. Council,
Your worship, I'll move the recommended amount of $2,512,950.65 in disbursements related to the period of July 27th to 31st for approval.
thank you, Councillor Pluis.
I'll second that, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Degg. Same thing, we'll go through and see if anybody's got any questions or comments for Ms. Cobbler. I'll start it off with Councillor Tolles.
No, everything I had highlighted was well explained by Ms. Cobbler. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles. Councillor Martins?
Nope, everything looks good to me.
Thank you, Councillor Martins. Councillor Friesen?
Yes, your worship, I was just going to mention that I've received a big part of this is paving costs, and I've received nothing but great comments regarding the paving work that's been done and the intersection work that's been done, and specifically the lane paving that we're doing versus doing the whole street. A lot of people are saying that was such a wise move, and they're really commending our city admin for coming up with that idea and making the dollars go further. So thanks to admin for bringing that idea forward and carrying through on it.
Thanks, Councillor Friesen. Well received. Councillor Bowditch?
I have nothing further to add, your worship.
Thanks, Councillor Pluis.
No, like Councillor Tolles, all my questions were answered in the explanation. Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Degg.
I want to echo the same sentiments that Councillor Friesen did regarding the 11th Avenue intersection and North Battleford Trail and Central Avenue intersection. I think those are such worthy projects that seem to me be, well worth what we paid for them. So I'm very happy to gonna be supporting this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Degg. This report was moved by Councillor Pluis. It was seconded by Councillor Degg. Council, all in favor? Madam Clerk, the motion's passed. Next, we'll hand it over to Mr. Minkin to go over a Sask Power Energy Program. Please go ahead, Mr. Minkin.
Just one moment, please, your worship.
Oh,
There's one other set of accounts for Ms. Cobbler to read.
My apologies. And
Thank
so sorry, Ms. Cobbler, for jumping ahead. You're right, it has been a little while since our last meeting. Please go ahead, Ms. Cobbler.
Thank you, your worship. Enclosed are the general revenue fund disbursements for the period of August 10th to August 14th, 2020. I respectfully recommend that $2,206,806.99 in disbursements be approved. Included in that amount is a payment of $280,000 for the payroll benefits, a payment of $855,000 for the purchase of energy, a payment of $20,000 for power costs in city facilities outside of our franchise area, payment of $13,000 for the purchase of chemicals for use by the water treatment plant, a payment of $77,000 for costs associated with the downtown streetscape rehabilitation project, a payment of $15,000 for costs associated with the yard waste program, payment of $17,000 for costs associated with software subscription renewal, a payment of $497,000 for costs related to the Battleford Trail and Central Avenue intersection realignment, a payment of $15,000 for costs associated with landfill cover material contract, a payment of $28,000 for the purchase and installation of a chain link fence at Kinetic Park, and a partial payment of $133,000 for the purchase of a towable runway sweeper for the airport.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cobbler. Council will be looking for a motion.
Your worship, I will also move this recommended amount of $2,206,806.99 in disbursements for approval related to the period of August 10th to the 14th.
Thank you, Councillor Pluis.
I'll second that again, your worship.
Thank you, Councillor Degg. Same thing, we'll go through and see if anybody's got any questions or comments for Ms. Cobbler. I'll start it off with Councillor Tolles.
No, sir, all well explained. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Martins.
Oh, everything I had highlighted was explained well. I'm all good.
Thanks, Councillor Friesen.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bowditch.
No questions here, your worship.
Thanks, Councillor Pluis.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Degg.
Nothing here as well. Thanks.
Perfect. The motion to approve the accounts was made by Councillor Pluis. It was seconded by Councillor Degg. Council, all in favor? Madam Clerk, this motion's passed. And at this point in time, I hope I'm going correct in going to Mr. Midkin, who's going to talk to us about SAS Power.
Good evening, Your Worship and members of council. This report deals with the SAS Power Energy Assistance Program. In late 2019, SAS Power launched the Energy Assistance Pilot Program to address some of the barriers faced by low-income customers, which prevent them from investing in energy-efficient upgrades. These customers spend a large proportion of their budget on energy costs, a larger proportion of their budget on energy costs than the average Saskatchewan customer. Following the success of the pilot, SAS Power is launching a full-scale energy efficiency program targeting low-income qualified customers across Saskatchewan. The proposed program aims to assist low-income customers in lowering their monthly energy bills by providing a free home energy walkthrough, one-on-one energy coaching, and the installation of several energy-saving measures. SAS Power has received 25% matching funding from the federal government to operate the program. With the launch across Saskatchewan, there's an opportunity for the City of Swift Current to partner with SAS Power so that qualified residents in Swift Current can access the program. The SAS Power Energy Assistance Program, which launches in August 2020, is offered until March 31st of 2023 and is open to income qualified homeowners and renters who are customers of SAS Power and partner agencies such as the City of Saskatoon Light and Power and the City of Swift Current Light and Power. SAS Power will provide all overhead administration in kind, including processing the applications, program evaluation, and marketing. The in-home delivery portion of the program is performed by a third-party vendor. The average expected cost per home for customer education and direct install of energy efficient measures is $800 per household. Federal funding provides 25% of the matching funds towards the program. Therefore, the cost to the City of Swift Current is $600 per household, which includes the in-home appointment, scheduling, labor, and the energy efficiency measures. Projections based on Statistics Canada data indicate that 1.4% of the participants can be expected to originate from Swift Current in this province-wide program. At a rate of 15 applications per year, the costs to the City of Swift Current are estimated to be at $9,000 per year over a 3-year period for a total estimated cost of $27,000. It is therefore respectfully recommended that Council approve the 3-year agreement with SAS Power to participate in the Energy Assistance Program to a maximum of 15 applications per year, and the Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign the agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Minkin. Council, I'll be looking for a motion.
Your Worship, I will make said motion. I will make the motion that Council approve the 3-year agreement with SAS Power to participate in the Energy Assistance Program to a maximum of 15 applications per year, and that the Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign the agreement.
Thank you, Councillor Martins.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen. We'll go through and see if anybody's got any questions or comments for Mr. Minkin, and I'll start it off with Councillor Tolles.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think we have an opportunity to participate in a province-wide program that's going to do nothing but benefit people who are maybe struggling a little bit with making ends meet right now. And I think it's a very minor cost to us and a very major influence to teach people how to be more energy efficient, and not just for this 3 years, but to carry on into the future so they can have this program. It'll end in 3 years, but their benefits will continue for them long afterwards. I certainly support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles. Councillor Martins.
All was very well said by Councillor Tolles, and I have nothing further to add.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen.
Nothing further. Thanks, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Bowditch.
Nothing to add, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Pluis.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I think the only thing I would add here is that, the city has had, and I talk about this often when the accounts come up, that the city has a, maybe not a policy, but certainly a desire to try to keep our rates the same as what Sask Powers are for people outside of our immediate franchise area. And I think, participating in this program will help us to do that. It's a partnership program with Sask Power that they're doing through the rest of the province. So if we didn't do it, we wouldn't be able to match what Sask Power is doing within our market area. So I think even just on that, it's certainly a good idea, but not to discount at all what Councillor Tolles had to say, of course. So I'll be in favor. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Daigle.
Nothing to add, Your Worship.
Thank you. This motion was made by Councillor Martins, seconded by Councillor Friesen. All those in favor? Council, the motion's passed. Next, I'll hand it over to Mr. Parsons. Welcome to Council, Mr. Parsons. Director of Asset Management, I should note for those that are watching. Thank you, Mr. Parsons.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship, and members of Council. This report deals with the purchase of a sewer main robotic cutter. Condition assessments are part of the next step in continuing progress on the city's asset management program. There are two main asset classes that have condition assessments completed, and there are 4 other classes that are in progress. As part of the condition assessment for storm sewer and sanitary sewers, the main lines need to have a visual inspection completed by a sewer imaging camera. These crawler cameras use a remote control tractor unit with a camera attachment to drive down the main line to inspect for cracks, breaks, pipe condition, or separations. Most of the sanitary mains have protruding laterals services into them from commercial buildings and residences. These lateral services protrude into the main, which do not allow the camera to pass by each service. As a result, the complete section of the pipe cannot be inspected. These protruding laterals can be cut out of the main using a robotic cutter. This is a complete separate unit from the inspection equipment. Once the laterals have been cut out, the camera will be able to pass by them and complete the inspection. The city currently has approximately 140 kilometers of sanitary main lines. The majority of these lines are clay tile pipe with protruding laterals. Any new installations use a saddle connection so the laterals do not protrude into the main. A cutter robot can be rented for approximately $6,000 per week or $312,000 per year. It is estimated that the robot cutter can cut 4 to 5 laterals per day, depending on the material. Based on this rental rate, it would be very costly to rent a cutter for a 3 or 4 year or even a duration of the project. Once the cutting process is complete and all lines have been inspected, the cutting robot could be rented out or sold to a smaller community that requires the same process for their asset management program. A request for quotes was sent out to 5 different companies for some options on a cutting robot. 3 of the companies have submitted quotes, the other 2 did not respond. A summary of the quotes received is attached. The Aries Wolverine exceeded all the other units because of its operational and maintenance features. This machine has electric drive motors as opposed to air drive motors. An electric generator is required for all robotic cutters. However, the air drive motor also requires an air compressor and air dryer. This unit also has a lens wiper that allows the operator to clean the camera lens remotely to maintain clear sight of the cutting bit. One of the other benefits of the Wolverine is that it is more compact in size and will be easier to lift and lower into manholes. The Aries Wolverine 2.0 received the highest evaluation score and is deemed to be the best value to the city. The budget for this would be reallocated from the approved capital budget for asset management. Therefore, it is respectfully recommended that the quote from Cubex Limited for the supply and delivery of an Aries Wolverine 2.0 robotic cutter in the amount of $236,505.08, PST included, GST excluded, be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Council, were you looking for a motion?
Okay, Your Worship, I'll make the recommendation that we accept the quote from Cubex Limited for the supply and delivery of an Aries Wolverine 2.0 robotic cutter in the amount of $236,505.08, PST included, GST excluded, and that we approve.
Thank you, Councillor Bowditch.
And I will second that, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles. Same thing, we'll go around the horn to see if anybody's got any questions or comments for Mr. Parsons in regards to this report. And I'll start it off with Councillor Tolles.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't pretend to know anything about sanitary lines or robotic cutters, but reading the report, thank you very much for that presentation. I trust that Mr. Parsons tells us that this needs to be done as part of our asset management program. And when I look at what he's presented to us here, it looks to me like the purchase of this cutter would be less in dollars than rental for 1 year. And so it would just make sense, I believe, to purchase rather than to rent. And so for that reason, I will support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles. Councillor Martins.
Thank you, Your Worship. I did have a question that I thankfully had the opportunity to address earlier, just in regards to 2 of the units that were closely rated, but one was a little bit higher on the cost side. And I very much like Councillor Tolles, I don't pretend that I know anything about this type of work. It isn't in my wheelhouse, so that's why I ask questions, because if I don't know, I would like to know. So I just asked essentially what the differences between the 2 and if it warranted the cost. And I mean, I trusted Mr. Parsons and his discretion and decision. And the one benefit that I did read also in going through everything was the fact that there is that opportunity of the potential resale. Now, what the cost and value is on the resale, I'm not sure, but the fact remains that we still could recoup some of the cost down the line over the unit itself. So, you know, I'm very appreciative of the answers that I did receive, and it did help put my mind at ease over the cost and the usage requirement itself. So outside of that, I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martins. Councillor Friesen.
Thanks, Your Worship. First of all, I'm really glad that this work can be done robotically. And my question is regarding the process itself. When you do get the machine, is this going to be disruptive with respect to folks' sewer and like, are we going to have to shut off the mains and so on when this work is being done?
No, thanks, Councillor Friesen. No, it should be very uninterruptive of the operations. We shouldn't have to shut down any mains or anything. Basically, this works on the same premise as the camera does. They're fully waterproof and everything. So, and they drive down the main the same as the camera. But instead of a camera unit to inspect, it's got a kind of a orbiting bit on the end that grinds off the protruding lateral. So there should be no disruption to any service provided to any residents or businesses.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Friesen, and thank you, Mr. Parsons. Councillor Bowditch.
Thank you, Worship. I pretty much echo all the other sentiments. I was a little bit worried about the price at first because of the amount of things that we have to do. But however, since we do have that option perhaps down the road to sell it to another community down the road, made my decision to support it much easier. So thank you very much. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councillor Bowditch. Councillor Pluis.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Thanks for the report to our admin team. I never fail to learn something new every time we have a council package about the different things that the folks who do the actual work of running the city, what they do on any given day. And like Councillor Friesen said, I think that everybody's probably glad that this is a robotic job. The one thing I had to mention, I guess, that's a little bit different from everybody else is just the budgeting aspect of it. And we did have an opportunity to look at this package over the weekend, had an opportunity to reach out to our admin team for a bit of an explanation. And rather than having me try to echo what they said with respect to sort of the reallocation of budget and sort of for all municipalities, asset management is a new process, at least relative to the last few years of how we've been doing things. So, which has led to obviously Mr. Parsons having carriage of this file. So I wonder if maybe we can just get a bit of a very quick background around this from Mr. Marcus or from whomever is most apt to answer this question.
Go ahead, please, Mr. Marcus.
Thank you, Your Worship. Certainly, Councillor Lewis, I can say that the budget for this, when it was determined earlier, included some funds that were allocated for some software changes for bringing all of these assets online. And that was with our software package of JDE, and with the new Oracle package, it's included in there. So it freed up some of those funds. And as well, as part of the condition assessments, this is work that was always going to need to be done, either through contractors and consultants. And we're just switching the work up a bit and taking care of the work that needed to be done first in order to actually provide the condition assessment. So at the end of the day, we're just moving the budget funds around, but we're not eliminating any work that needs to be done under asset management.
Great, thanks very much. I guess that's what I was looking to have confirmation of, is just that we're not doing this instead of doing something else. These are actually funds that were freed up internally, and Mr. Parsons is sort of taking carriage of this, helping us to alleviate some use of contractors and hiring out work. So we'll be doing this sort of with an in-house solution, which I think is a great thing. So thanks so much for the report and the explanation.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Councillor Daigle.
I also appreciate the fact that this is going to be done with in-house people with our own equipment. It just makes sense. So I am going to support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Daigle. This motion was made by Councillor Bowditch. It was seconded by Councillor Tolles. Council, all those in favor? Madam Clerk, this motion's passed. We've got no bylaws on our agenda for this evening, nothing to discuss in camera. So before adjournment, just wanted to mention just a couple of things. The first, the Legionnaire Kids Camp started off today, and I know some of the parents here in Swift Current got a chance to meet some of their new billets that'll be coming to town. You know, we've got lots of changes thanks to COVID, and to the credit of the Legionnaires and Coach Chris, the new coach for the Legionnaires, they'll be having an amended form of season, although not knowing when it's going to start. The kids will still be coming here, the 15, 16, 17-year-olds coming to Swift to stay at billets houses and attending school, just practicing for now. And we're happy to be having 2 of those kids moving into our house on the 7th of September. Very excited that our rinks are opening, and thanks to Jim Jones, to all the work that him and his team have done to be able to make that happen. It definitely brings a sense of normalcy to our community. And with that, of course, we've been hearing from the province, and today we definitely saw our numbers for the first time get below that 100 mark, and very grateful for that. I think the message is still the same. We continue to hear that message from the Premier and from the SHA, and it's good hand washing, keeping 6 feet apart, stay home if you're sick, and of course, avoid all unnecessary interprovincial travel. Try to stay home. We are going to get through this, folks. We know that. And here in the Southwest, we've got some great people that are leading the charge in this. And so I'm thankful for that, and thankful to see the numbers here in the South start to decline. I do have one thing to mention to the community for this evening, and it's a real positive. It's to do with a recognition of service. It's to our dear friend and CAO, Tim Marcus. I'd like to take this opportunity to say a few words about our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Tim Marcus. Just recently, Tim was recognized by the Canadian Association of Municipal Administrators, the acronym for that is CAMA, for his 20 years of dedicated municipal service in a management capacity. Now, Tim began working for the City of Swift Current November 1st, 1999 as our Director of Finance. He was appointed Deputy CAO on January 10th of 2011, and he assumed the role of CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, the top staff position within our organization, on September the 11th, 2015. Tim has been our CAO since I took over as mayor in 2016, and I'm proud to have worked alongside Mr. Marcus these past 4 years. Tim guides our city operations with a strong, steady hand, and I know I speak on behalf of our entire council when I say that we greatly appreciate his dedication to his role, his efforts to move our community to new heights, and his ability to bring the vision of this city council to life. Tim, congratulations on this recognition, and thank you very much for your 20+ years of work for our community and everything that you do and continue to do to grow Swift. And with that, council, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting. Oh, see lots of claps of hands there, Timmy. My apologies. Lots of accolades. On mute, it's just the sound of one hand clapping, I suppose. But you can definitely appreciate all of the accolades. Very well deserved. With that, council will be looking for a motion to adjourn this evening's meeting.
Your worship, I will make said motion to adjourn tonight's council meeting for Monday, August the 24th.
Thank you, Councillor Martins.
And I will second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Tolles. All those in favor? Council, this motion's passed. Have a great couple of weeks, everybody.